Hey guys, God bless you. I'm going to start my video this way today. This is different. This is different than I would normally do. I am in the process of getting a CDL license, so I thought that maybe people will be interested in for learning a little bit of it. I'll be learning it with you. I bought this binder, and believe it or not, this is the CDL license. That's how thick the book is. So, and this is the manual. This is was it July 2014 to 2005 up to now that it is we're in 2021. This is the manual that they're still using. So I just got it not too long ago. Planning to take my CDL classes, and I was like trying to search some information on it about, hey, how can I learn this in a better way. I'm a type of person that learn things by listening and sometimes reading things, but when I read, I kind of like tend to forget certain details, so I try not to miss concentration, but that is something that always happens to me. So anyways, I am in my room, by the way, excuse my little thing, and my hair is all over the place today. So maybe I can find my tie here. So I'm gonna try to help you if you're in trying to learn to get your CDL class. What I want to learn is my class B at the moment. There is like all the classes are here, like from here, let me go into the pages so I can go in with you on this situation. So you can get the class A, B, or C in here, on this book that I have here. So within any other license, I don't think there's any other license than that, right? We'll see anyway. But you have to take certain things, so it depends on what you're gonna take. So this is how the book look. I'll show you. Like, I just got it, so you guys are gonna learn it with me. I thought that maybe you guys can learn it with me, and it'll be like so much good. So this is Massachusetts driving manual for Massachusetts. We are on 2022. It's October 5, 2022 today, and I'm giving the date because it changes. The manual might change every certain time. Up to this date, this is the one I got. So I'm guessing this is what they're up to right now, and this is everything that you have to learn. So this is what the manual looks like. See, so it has no color because I didn't print it out with color, but I thought that you know how hard it is for a lot of people to actually learn the manual. I'm a person that I like I think I haven't seen a video out here of somebody actually talking about the this commercial driver's license manual. I'm learning this right now as we're speaking. I am practicing this because I am going for a job that has to do with CDL. And this is a lot to learn. Like, look at this, you guys. There is so much to learn in here that you would have to go through. And if you notice, I got myself some sample tests. They're not really the questions that you're gonna get you might get them or you might not get them, but it's an example of questions that you might get. So what I got here is like practice test questions. There I have them like in different departments of what license I want to go for. So and you will see that I have questions here. See, there's like, I'm not sure if you can see that well, but I'm hoping you can. So there's like all types of questions here. Like I'll read one for an example in case you can't read it from there. So it will be like, This is for CDL air brakes endorsement practice questions. So why must air tanks be drained? And then I'll say to drain all of the air out of the tank, to drain the moisture and oil out of the tank, to keep anybody from moving the vehicle. So I have these questions, but I also have the answers at the end of the questionnaire. So I try not to, look at the answers to it, because I am not really interested in just memorizing these questions, because it's not what you want to do when you're learning CDL. You actually want to learn how to get your CDL, the right way. So I am not a teacher. I am not licensed to do this. This is just something that I think it would be very useful for all those who do want to get their CDL class, and I have not seen any of this videos done on YouTube or any of that, so maybe I thought that maybe it's something that you guys might really want to listen to. It might be a lot of talking that I'll give you, because there's no images in these pages, so I can read, which is what I'm planning to do. It's like reading the book a little bit for you guys, and I'll try to do this. Might take me more than one video to do, because I don't know how long a YouTube video can be, and I think that that it'll be helpful. I think it'll be very helpful. I wish I had the chance of having someone to have this out here. This book is, you gotta pay for it. Everybody who wants to learn this book, they have to pay for it. So you can get it on your motor vehicle place, and you can learn it that way, or you can learn it that way, or I don't know, learn it with me. We'll see if we can learn it together. This is what I'm going to try to do, like, this whole week. Like, I need to do this and learn this book, because I have a goal, and my goal is to get my CDL class right now. And right now I want to start with like my class B. I don't want to go class A, because class A is a bit A. So, class B is like middle. I will have to learn A, B, in it. And then later on, if I want to do something like bigger, that's like when you drive like a triple trucks and stuff like that, then you can go for class, C or so. It all depends. But anyways, I'm gonna try to learn the whole book. I really am gonna try to learn the whole book. Right now I want you guys to learn class B, and this is class B is for school bus, PVTA, like big buses that transport people. Class B, you can also small cargoes like that. It has to weigh over 26,000 was it? I think I just read it too. 26,001 something pounds. Anyway, but I will read it, for you, because people weight also matters. So you have to learn, like in this book, you have to learn a lot of things. You have to learn a lot. Your general knowledge is something that everybody has to learn for their CDL. So you need to take your general knowledge test. You need your passenger transport test, your air brake test. You need your combination vehicle test. If you're going to drive trucks and bigger, then you need the hazardous material test. And if you're going to drive a tank, which is like oil, you need the tank vehicle test. Then you also have, if you're going to drive, how some people drive one truck, two trucks, three loads. I mean, not three trucks, sorry. You can't drive three trucks, but one truck with loads, bigger loads. So you, for that, you need to take the double triple test, so that's what it's called. And then you get the school bus test, which is what we're going to learn right now. It's going to be the school bus test. And you need the skill test. You need the skill test. You need the vehicle inspection test, because everybody needs to know the inspection to their vehicle, and the basic vehicle control. So, your knowledge test, you will have to take one or more knowledge tests depending on what class of the license and what endorsements you need. The CDL knowledge test includes all these that I have mentioned, like the general knowledge test, taken by all applicants. So everybody has to take the general knowledge test. No matter what license you want to take, you have to take this. The passenger transport test is taken by all the bus applicants. So everybody who wants to take like drive buses or something with more passengers, they have to take the passenger transport test. The air brake test, which you must take if your vehicle has air brakes, including air over hydraulic brakes. So if you have over hydraulic brakes in your, which a lot of vehicles do have them, so you should take it. I recommend everybody take it. The combination vehicle test, which is required if you want to drive combination vehicles. I am reading from the manual as I'm speaking to you. I'm not talking to you like I know all these things, because I am learning it with you, remember. So the combination vehicle test which is required if you want to drive combination vehicles. So the hazardous material test requires you if you want to haul hazardous materials as defined in 49 CFR 383.5 points. In order to obtain this endorsement, you're also required to pass a Transportation Security Administration, which is considered a TSA background check. So you do have to pass the background check. So if you're taking the school bus, if you're taking the school bus test, from what I went for, it's not really a school bus, but I want to do like any passenger transport, in case if I can't get a job here, I get a job here, and I do that, and get something bigger. So I want to try to go for the bus test, so that would be the license B for transporting people. And so if you want to do that, for all of these you need a DOT. So before you go and the first thing you do is you go to the motor vehicle, you get your knowledge book, your little manual. This is your knowledge book. So it's going to teach you everything that you need to know. So in this manual, once you get this manual, then when you sign up to make the appointment, that you memorize all this, make sure you have your DOT test, because you do need a physical. So a lot of these, from what I was told, I need a physical. I need my DOT. If you have diabetic, you need to also get that report in there. If you have sleep apnea, you need a sleep apnea test. There's a lot depending on what the DOT tells you to do, so you have to do that, okay? So and this is all for you to get this license. So the tank vehicle test, which I am not gonna do, but this is good to know since it is on the book, why not say it. So the tank vehicle test requires, if you want to haul any liquid or gaseous material in a tank or tanks having an individual rate capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregated rate capacity of 1,000 gallons or more, that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or chassis. So that's for the tank vehicle test. That's what they require you. The double, triple test, you know, those are the people that have the big wagons on the truck, that they will have 1, 2, or 3. Something I think I would not dare to do, but you never know, because when you drive something, see, I started in a regular vehicle, driving my small car. From a small car, I drove a mini bus. From a minivan. From minivan, I jumped into working for a transportation company, driving seniors to their appointments and stuff like that. And I drove a bigger bus, but you don't require a license for that. You know, you don't require not even a passenger endorsement for that, because the company provides all that. And when you work for senior, you do need a DOT when you work for that company and stuff like that. But for this that I want, which I want to do higher passenger transport, like you could do the city bus, the big giant city buses. I have not driven that yet, but if I can drive this one, I'm going a little bigger, so you never know, because you grow. So if you get the city bus and you happen to get this license, and then you think you can drive a whole load of truck, go for it. If you think you can carry 2 wagons, hey, there's people that do that. So that's for the triple test. So the triple test requires, if you want to pull double or triple trailers. The school bus test requires if you want to drive a school bus, which I'm gonna go for. The school bus also is the test for the city bus and other transports that transport people. So then you have the one, this is like 1.1/2, the skill test. Then it says, if you pass the required knowledge test, you can take the CDL skill test. There are 3 types of general skill tests that will be tested. Vehicle inspection, basic vehicle control, and on the road driving. You must take this test in the type of vehicle for which you wish to be licensed. So it depends what license you get. That's a skill test you want to take. Any vehicle that has component, mark, or label cannot be used for the vehicle inspection test. Vehicle inspections. That's another one. You will be tested to see if you know whether your vehicle is safe to drive. You will be asked to do a vehicle inspection on your vehicle and explain to the examiner what would you inspect and why are you inspecting it. So you will have to go and do all that. Pretty self-explainable. Then the basic vehicle control. You will be tested on your skills to control the vehicle. You will be asked to move your vehicle forward, backwards, and turn it within a defined area. These areas may be marked with traffic lane, cones, barriers, or something similar. The examiner will tell you how each control test is to be done. So they'll tell you what to do. It's not on you. On-road test. You will be tested on your skills to safely drive your vehicle in a variety of traffic situations. A little nervous already. The situations may include left and right turns, intersections, railroad crossing, curbs up and down grades, single or multiple lane roads, streets, or highways. The examiner will tell you where to drive. Then you have table 1 of 1 and table 1 of 2 details which section of this manual you should study for each particular class of license and for each endorsement. So you'll have like these tables that I'm going to show you right now. This is a table. So you have this. I'm trying to put my hand on the back. So you have this one. It says, the class A, B, and C, and it tells you which one you need to study. So it has like the numbers of what you need to study in the book. So you go there. Then if this is the other that you need, the endorsement type. So these type, all that are marked, are the ones that you need to take, for that. So, if you're going for class A, you need, to do in your book, there's sections. So there's like 13 sections in your book. So you need to take, for class A, you need to take from 1 to 3, then you take 5 and 6, and then you take 11 to 13. So that's for class A. If you're going for class B, which is what I'm going to go for, I'll have section 1, 2, 3. Section 5, it's mandatory for all the tests. Section 5 is very mandatory, so you want to really put your focus in section 5. And then section 11 to 13, that's the class B I'm going to be taking. If you want to class C, then you will want to take section 1 to 3, section 5 again, and then 11 to 13, which is the same. So class B and class C, it's the same classes that you will be taking. So if you take the class B license for passenger endorsement, you need to know the class C test. But it changes in certain things, you know, because when you go to the endorsement type down here, you know, you need to, if you're going for class A, you need to know your hazardous material. Sorry, my English is not perfect, but I try. If you're going for the class, you know, so your section 2 has your double and your triple. So if you're going to carry like double wagons and stuff like that. Section 5, it's also something like that, you know, section 5, 6, and 7. So if you're going to, you know, these are like a lot of different things anyways. My school bus would be section 10 to 13, you know, and I will have to plan to operate vehicles equipped with air brakes. So I need to learn all my air brakes and stuff like that within that section. And that is the first page. So I'm just gonna read to you guys, like, and then and go through, you know, this is like starting the section 1 on the, you know, CDL class. So we'll do section 1 first, okay? So the section 1, again, going back, you will have the introduction. So it's everything that you're gonna need, you know, and you will listen to it anyways. Why me explain it and then you hearing it again. So medical documentations that you will required. All right, this is everybody. Starting January 30, this is a very old book, but this is still up to date because nothing has changed from what I have been told, and this is the reason why I have this book. We're in 2022, and this book starting in 2012, and no later than January the 2014. If you're applying for a CDL permit or are renewing, upgrading, adding endorsements to a CDL, or transferring a CDL from another state, you are required to provide information to your state hold on, I gotta follow it with something. There's like tiny words. Okay, upgrading endorsements to a CDL or transferring a CDL from another state, you are required to provide information to your state driver's license agency, which is the SDLA, regarding the type of commercial motor vehicle operation you drive in or expect to drive in with your CDL drivers. Operating in certain types of commands will be required to submit a current medical examiner certificate or any medical variance documents that you have been issued, like vision skills, performance, or diabetic waivers. Those are the people who are diabetic, you know, self-insulin, or other exemptions. So your SDLA, which is your driver's license agency, to obtain a certificate medical status as part of your driving records, you must contact your state driver's license agency to obtain information regarding the requirements to submitting these documents. Okay, so every person is different. Like if you're diabetic, you have to provide every single, information. If you're required to have a certificate like a medical status and fail to provide it and keep up to date your medical examiner certificate, you become not certified and may lose your CDL. So if you have a CDL, you don't do that, you may lose it. For the purpose of complying with the new requirements for medical certification, it is important to know that you are using the CMV. The following information will help you decide how to self-certify. Okay, so interstate or intrastate commerce. I want to say is commerce. Do you or will you use the CDL to operate a CMV in interstate or interstate commerce? I want to say. Interstate commerce is when you drive a CMV from one state to another or a foreign country, between two places within a state, but during part of the trip, the CMV crosses into another state or foreign countries, or between two places within a state, but the cargo or passengers are part of a trip and begins or will end in another state or foreign country. Interstate commerce. It's when you drive a CMV within a state and you do not meet any of the description above for interstate commerce. So there's intrastate and there's interstate. It's kind of confusing because intra, it's, INTRA state commerce, and then there's the interstate, the the INTERS state, states. Y'all know how to spell state. So they're intra and inter. So if you guys hear those two words, it's kind of like confusing because you're like reading it. So, but it's two different, names, intrastate and interstate. If you operate in both intra-state commerce and interstate commerce, you must choose interstate commerce, inter. Okay? Once you decide whether you will operate in interstate commerce or intra-state commerce, you must decide whether you will operate or expect to operate in a non-accepted or accepted status. So you'll be like non-accepted or accepted status. This decision will tell you to which of the 4 types of commerce you must self-certify. So, you're doing it in-state, interstate. So you operate in acceptance interstate commerce when you drive a CMV in interstate commerce only for the following accept activities. See, I was about to say that, but I'd rather read it. To transport school children and or school staff between home and schools, has federal, state, or local government employees. To transport human corpse or sick or injured persons. So you can even transport human corpse. This is for the interstate. Fire trucks or rescue vehicle drivers during emergency and other related activities, primarily in the transportation of propane winter heating fuels when responding to an emergency condition requiring immediate response, such as damage to a propane gas system after a storm or flooding. In response to a pipeline emergency condition requiring immediate response, such as a pipeline leak or rupture. In custom harvesting on a farm or transporting farm machinery and supplies used in the custom harvesting operation to and from a farm, or to transport custom harvested crops to storage or markets. Beekeepers in the seasonal transportations of bees. controlled and operated by a farmer, but it is not a combination vehicle, power units and towed units. And it is used to transport agriculture products, farm machinery, or farm supplies. No placardable hazardous materials, so nothing that has hazard material, to and from a farm and within 150 air miles of the farm. Okay. Has a private motor carrier of passengers for non-business purposes or to transport migrant workers. If you answer yes to one or more of these above activity, has the only operation in which you drive, you operate in acceptance interstate commerce and do not need a federal medical examiner certificate. So for this, you don't need a, if you answered yes to any of these, according to this book regulations up to this day. If you answer no to all of the above activities, you operate in a non-acceptance interstate commerce and are required to provide a current medical examiner certificate, which is a 49 CFR 391.45, commonly referred to as a medical certificate or a DOT card, which is what I was talking to you guys about. To your state driver's license agency, which it's translated to SDLA. So if you guys hear SDLA, it means state driver's licensing agency. Most CDL holders who drive CMVs in interstate commerce are non-accepted interstate commerce drivers, so they are non-acceptance. If you operate in both accepted interstate commerce and non-accepted interstate commerce, you must choose non-accepted interstate commerce to be qualified to operate in both types of interstate commerce. So if you want to do both types, then you might want to be the non-accepted interstate commerce. So interstate commerce, you operate in acceptance interstate commerce when you drive CMV only in transstate commerce activity for which your state of licensure has determined to not require you to meet the state medical certification requirements. Contact your SDLA. Going back again, your SDLA is your state driver's licensing agency about their requirements. You operate in non-accepted interstate commerce when you drive the CMV only in interstate commerce and are required to meet your state of licensure. Medical certificates are required. Contact your SDLA about their requirements. If you operate in both acceptance interstate commerce and non-acceptance interstate commerce, you must choose non-acceptance interstate commerce. I guess that's like pretty cleared. Not something that I'm going to do. So this is something that everybody needs to learn. But it keeps talking about certification statements. I'll read this page, since this is like a intro of the book. It's giving you like little details, kind of a little confusing and stuff like that. But this is something that I do have to learn since it is on my Class B license. So it's Section 1. So I have to do the whole Section 1. So I will be reading this for you guys. Self-certification statement. When completing an application for your CDL, you will be required to check the box next to the statement that describes your status. The actual statement on your application may vary from those shown below. So the first box says, interstate non-acceptance. I certify that I operate or expect to operate in interstate commerce and that I am subject to and meet the federal DOT medical card requirement under 49 CFR part 391 and that I am required to obtain a medical examiner certificate. So that you will have to require. Interstate acceptance. I certify that I operate or expect to operate in interstate commerce but engage exclusively in transportation or operating except under 49 CFR 390, 3F, 391.2, 391.68, or 398.3 from all or part of the qualification requirements of 49 CFR Part 391, and that I am not required to obtain a medical examiner certificate. Interstate non-acceptance, the next box, that's the third box. I certify that I operate or expect to operate entirely in interstate commerce, and I am subject to and meet the medical requirements for my state, and that I am required to obtain a medical examiner certificate. So that's the third box. The fourth box, so you get like 4 options to choose for, depending what license you're going through. So the fourth one is interstate accepted. I certify that I operate or expect to operate entirely in intrastate commerce, that I am not subject to the medical requirements for my state, and that I am not required to obtain a medical examiner certificate. I'm going for my passenger endorsement, so I do require to do my medical DOT. So I would go to the interstate non-accepted, I want to say. So it's between that one. Yeah, I would say that one. That would be the one that I would pick for the one I want. CDL disqualifications. See, here we go. The general. This is important for you to learn. This is one of the things that you will be asked on the test. So you want to learn your general. Okay. So this is something that every person, every department, or every state has to do, because this is this could disqualify you or qualified you, whatever it is. So the general disqualification for CDL. You may not drive a commercial motor vehicle if you are disqualified for any reason. Okay, so you got the 1, 3, and 2, which is alcohol, leaving the scene of an accident, and commission of a felony. Those are the ones you gotta go for. It is illegal to operate your CMV if your blood alcohol concentration, BAC, is 0.04% or more. There goes my cat. That's my commercial right there. If you operate a CMV, you shall be deemed to have given your consent to alcohol testing. You will lose your CDL for at least 1 year for a first offense for driving a CMV if your blood alcohol concentration is higher than 0.04% or higher. So, you will lose your license for 1 year. Also, driving a CMV under the influence of alcohol, refusing to undergo blood alcohol testing. So if you refuse blood testing, or you get caught, that's a 1 year for your first offense. Remember that. Driving a CMV while under the influence of a controlled substance. You also drive it under a controlled substance, it's 1 year also. Leaving the scene of an accident involving a CMV. Committing a felony involving the use of a CMV. Driving a CMV when the CDL is suspended as well. That's a little easy for whoever has a license. Causing a fatally through negligent operation of a CMV. You will lose your CDL for at least 3 years if the offense occurs while you're operating on a CMV that it is placarded for hazardous material. So if you're carrying hazardous material, you will lose it for 3 years. You will lose your CDL for a life for a second offense. So a second offense, you will lose it for life. Bye bye. So you will lose your CDL for life if you use a CMV to commit a felony involving controlled substance. So if you're going to sell some drugs in your truck, you are losing your license for life. Or you're going to do something illegal that you aren't supposed to do, you will lose your life your license for life. You will be put out of service for 24 hours if you have any detectable amount of alcohol under 0.04. So under 0.04, you will be put aside for 24 hours. You can't drive. But if you're over 0.04, remember these things, because I'm pretty sure that these are things that I will be asked on the test. I don't know, but these are very important things that usually when you do a driving test, you know, when I did my driving test and stuff like that, these are like simple questions that they do ask. So if you're over 0.04, you could lose your license for up to 1 year, you know. If you're under 0.04, you get put out of service for 24 hours. Okay? Because you're not supposed to be driving while you're drinking. Serious traffic violations. That's the next one. So serious traffic violations are excessive speeding, 15 miles per hour or more above the posted limits. These are things that you might want to also remember, okay? So if you're speeding for 15 miles or more above the posted limit, recklessly driving improper or erratic lane changes, following a vehicle too close, because trucks ain't supposed to follow, or passenger endorsements either, because you guys know we have air brakes and others, you know, it takes a bit longer for you. You can't tell no one. Traffic offense committed in a CMV in connection with fatal traffic accidents, driving a CMV without obtaining a CDL or having a CDL in the driver's possession, and driving a CMV without the proper class of CDL and or endorsement, you will lose your CDL. So if you don't have a CDL, you're driving without a CDL, you won't get a CDL. So you really already lose it, you know. So if you're driving with a CDL, you're driving recklessly, too close to another vehicle, you know, these are rules that a lot of people do not know. So you do that, you know, you can lose your CDL as well. These are very strict. Me explaining, you know, I think these are very strict rules, but it is something that it is for the safety of the passengers. There's a lot of people, you know, that do cut in front of trucks. I've seen it myself, and it's not that the truck got closer to them, it's that the vehicle cut into them, and they don't understand, you know, they think that, oh, the truck is bigger, so they gotta have better brakes. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes quite some time before a truck can brake, to my point of view. So I try to stay away as much as I can from a truck. So, you will lose your CDL for at least 60 days if you have committed 2 serious traffic violations. 2 serious traffic violations within a 3-year period involving CMV. So you have 3-year period, 2 traffic violation. You got 60 days. For at least 120 days for 3 or more serious traffic violations with a 3-year period involving CMV. So if you do it in 3 years, you already have 2. You got 60 days off, and then you add another one to it, then you get 120 days for traffic violations. So violations are out of service orders. That's 134. You will lose your CDL for at least 90 days if you have committed your first violation off and out of service order. For at least 1 year if you have committed 2 violations off and out of service order in a 10-year period. For at least 3 years if you have committed 3 or more violations of an out of service order in a 10-year period. Railroad highways grade crossing violations. You will lose your CDL for at least 60 days for your first violation. For at least 120 days for your second violation within a 3-year period. For at least 1 year for your third violation within a 3-year period. So Wow. That's if you failed the railroad crossing violations. These are the railroad violations. So, you know, your first violation is 60 days. Your second violation is 120 days, putting it in a short, easier way. And 1 year for the third violation. That's for the railroad. These violations include violations of a federal, state law, or local law or regulation pertaining to one of the following 6 offenses at a railroad highway grade crossing. For drivers who are not required to always stop, failing to stop before reaching the crossing is track are not clear. When tracks are not clear. It says for drivers who are not required to always stop, failing to stop before reaching the crossing if the tracks are not clear. So for drivers who are not required to always stop, failing to slow down and check that the tracks are cleared of an approaching train. For drivers who are always required to stop, failing to stop before leaving into the crossing. For all drivers failing to have sufficient space to drive completely through the crossing without stopping. For all drivers failing to obey the traffic control device or directional of an enforcement official at the crossing. For all drivers failing to negotiate a crossing because of insufficient undercarriage clearance. So you have to make sure that your carriage is cleared, that there is that there's not a train coming. So all these things that you fail to do, you will be, according to the violations, how many times you did it. So your first offense will be 60 days, second 120, and then 1 year. So depending how many times you do it, that's how your violation will be. So all these, you might want to remember these, because this is something that I would say it's on a test. Because when they ask you, if you go into to a regular driving test, they go, hey, how far do you have to be from an ambulance? And they ask you the same questions, but in a different way, So always remember all these things. Not very hard, like very easy to remember, but not very uncommon. These are things that'll come to your mind out mandatory, because what you can do and what you cannot do. So when you go to a railroad track, you can't just expect to drive through. So, look at it that way. Hazardous material endorsement, background checks, and disqualification. This is something I do not have to learn. But it says I have to read section 1. So I guess the whole section 1, I will have to read it. Let me see. Let me go back to my template, because I am doing the school bus class. And I have to do section 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yep. And then school bus 10, 11, 12, and 13. Yep, I gotta do them. Sorry, gotta go through them. So hazardous material endorsement, background check, and disqualifications. If you require hazardous material endorsements, you will be required to submit your fingerprints and the subject to a background check. You will be denied, or you will lose your hazardous material endorsements if you're not a lawful permanent resident on the United States. If you're not a resident in the United States, sorry, but you will be required to put your fingerprint, make sure that they know who you are, and do a background check on you. Are you not a lawful permanent resident or on the United States? So if you're not in the United States, again, renounce your United States citizenship, so you can lose your citizenship as well. Are wanted or under indictment for certain felonies. So if you're wanted, you will be denied. Have a conviction or a military or civilian court for certain felonies, you will also be denied. Have been adjudicated has a mental defective, or committed to a mental institution, you will also be denied. So if you ever been to a mental institution for any reason and you want to take your CDL class, don't waste your time. That's what I would say. That's what I see it as of. Are considered to pose a security threat as determined by the Transportation Security Administration, you will also be denied because you're considered a threat. The background check procedures may vary jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Your licensed agency will provide you with all the information you need to complete the requirement TSA background check procedures. So then here we go to traffic violations in your personal vehicle. Okay, so if you have a CDL class, your personal vehicle matters as well. So make sure that you do not have any traffic violations in your personal vehicle. That's to my understanding. It says the Motor Vehicle Carrier Safely Improve Act, which is for short MCSIA, of 1999, requires a CDL holder to be disqualified from operating a commercial motor vehicle if the CDL holder has been convicted of certain types of moving violation in their personal vehicle. You can't do any moving violations in your personal vehicle. If your privileges to operate your vehicle is revoked, canceled, or suspended due to violations of traffic control laws other than parking violations, so you get a little slack on the parking violations, you will also lose your CDL driving privileges. So you will lose that. If your privilege to operate your personal vehicle is revoked, canceled, or suspended due to alcohol, controlled substance, or felony violations, you will lose your CDL for 1 year. That's in your personal car, remember. If you are convicted of a second violation in your personal vehicle or CMV, you will lose your CDL for life. So in your own personal vehicle, you do it 2 times. Let's say you're drunk and driving and you do it 2 times, bye-bye license for life, because there's no forgiveness there. My cat likes to walk back there. Then other CDL rules, okay? Here we go. There are other federal and state rules that affect drivers operating CMV in the state. Among them are: you cannot have more than 1 license. If you break this rule, a court may fine you up to $5,000 or put you in jail and keep you home state license and return any other. Wow. So you cannot have more than 1 driver's license. So you have your driver's car license, then you have, you get your CDL A, you get your CDL B, or you get your CDL C, and you keep all those licenses. I'm sorry, but you're going to pay, or you're going to do some jail time. So give it away. You must notify your employer within 30 days of conviction for any traffic violation except parking. Remember, you got to slack on the parking. Sometimes these parking meters, you park it in the city and they'll be like, oh, you're in the wrong spot, but they don't have the meter there. Boom, they give you a ticket. So that's just an example. This is true no matter what type of vehicle you were driving. So you must notify your vehicle licensing agency within 30 days if you're convicted in any other jurisdiction or any traffic violation except parking again. This is true no matter what type of vehicle you're driving. So this is second time. I think it's kind of like, so first time you will notice them 30 days of conviction for any traffic violation, except parking. And then again, it says you must notify motor vehicle licensing agent within 30 days if you're convicted in any jurisdiction. So you must notify your employer within 2 days of your license is suspended, revoked, or canceled, or if you're disqualified from driving. Basically, you lose your job, you get no pay. That's sad. You must give your employer information on all driving jobs you have held for the past 10 years. You must do this when you apply for a commercial driving job. So every single job you have interview or work for, you have to give all that information. No one can drive a commercial motor vehicle without CDL. A court may fine you up to $5,000 or put you in jail for breaking these rules. So if you don't have a CDL license, remember how in the beginning when we started, if you don't have a CDL license, you lose your CDL for what? 1 year? Well, here they will also fine you for $5,000 and or put you to jail for breaking their rules. So that's additional. If you put it together, A and B, that's together. If you have a hazardous material endorsement, you must notify and surrender your hazardous material endorsement to the state that issue your CDL within 24 hours of any conviction or indictment in any jurisdiction, civilian or military, or found not guilty by reason or insanity of disqualification crime listed in 49 CFR 1572.103, who is adjudicated, sorry, I can't say that very well, has a mental defective or committed to a mental institution, has specified in 49 CFR 1572.109, or who renounces his or her U.S. citizenship. So your employer may not let you drive a commercial vehicle if you have more than one license or if your CDL is suspended or revoked. A court may fine the employer up to $5,000 or put him or her in jail for breaking this rule. So here we go again. See, you break the rules, you $5,000. So all states are connected to one computerized system to share information about CDL drivers. So all the states are connected. The state will check on drivers' accident records to be sure that the drivers do not have more than one CDL. You're not allowed to hold a mobile telephone to conduct a voice communication or dial a mobile telephone by pressing more than a single button when driving. So you'll be like, call Jesse, call Anna, call Linda, or call Frank. So make sure you just have that one button to call. Can't be like. So you're not allowed to send or read text messages while you're driving. So no sending messages to no one. Leave your girlfriend alone. Leave your mommy alone. Leave your sister alone. Leave your brother alone. Leave your gossipers alone. It is no time to gossip. No text messages while you're driving. Same rule applies to a truck driver. You must be properly restrained by a safety belt at all times while operating a commercial motor vehicle. Seatbelt. The safety belt design holds the driver securely behind the wheel during a crash, helping the drivers to control the vehicle and reduce the chances of serious injury or death. So you'll be safe. Well, not 100, but you'll be safer with the seatbelt. And you do not wear, it says the vehicle, and it reduces the chances of serious injuries or death. If you do not wear a seatbelt, you are 4 times more likely to be fatally injured if you are thrown from your truck, your vehicle. Your state may have additional rules that you must also obey. So depends on what state you're in, you will get more rules for you to obey. So, and then we jump from 1 to 5, International Registration Plan, International Fuel Tax Agreement. Oy, fuel tax agreement. So many things to learn, This is section 1 to 5. I'm going back because I need to make sure that I haven't left what I'm supposed to be learning. Because I don't want to learn. Well, I do want to learn the whole book, but at this moment, I do not want to learn the whole book. So, because I need to make sure that I learn what I need to do. 1, 2, 3. Actually teach you guys a little bit more than what I'm supposed to be learning. Because I was supposed to do 1, 2, 3, and I did 1 to 4, and then there's 5. But so yeah, I guess so. There's 5. All these you gotta learn. Let's just read it, right? What the heck? We're ready here. So, alright, that was the CDL rules. Now the International Registration Plan International Fuel Tax Agreement. If you operate CDL requirements vehicle in interstate commerce, the vehicle, with few exceptions, is required to be registered under the International Registration Plan IRP and the International Fuel Tax Agreement IFTA. This federally mandated program provides for the equitable collection and distribution of vehicle license fee and motor fuel taxes for vehicle traveling through the 48 contiguous United States and 10 Canadian provinces. Under the IRP jurisdiction, must register a portioned vehicle, which includes issuing license plates and cab cards or proper credentials. Calculate, collect, and distribute IRP feeds out at carriers for accuracy of report distance and feed and enforce IRP requirements. Registrant's responsibilities under the plan includes applying for IRP registration with base jurisdiction, provided proper and documentations for registration, paying appropriate IRP registration fee, properly displaying registration credential, and maintaining accurate distance records and making records available for jurisdiction review. The basic concept behind IFTA is to allow a licensed motor vehicle to license in a base jurisdiction for the reporting of payments or motor vehicle fuel use taxes. Under the IFTA, a license is issued one set of credentials which will authorize operation through the IFTA members' jurisdiction. The fuel uses taxes collected pursuant to the IFTA are calculated based on the number of miles, kilometers traveled, and numbers of gallons, liters. Consumers in the member I'm losing my vision here. Jurisdiction. The license files 1 quarterly tax returns with the base jurisdiction by which the license will report all operations through all IFTA member jurisdiction. This is going to be hard to remember if I have to remember this. Hopefully not. It is the base jurisdiction responsibility to remit the taxes collected to other members' jurisdiction and to present the other member jurisdiction in the tax collection process, including the performance of the audits. An IFTA license must retain records to support the information reported on the IFTA quarterly tax return. The IRP registrants and the IFTA license may be the vehicle owner or the vehicle operator. So the requirements for acquiring the IRP plates for a vehicle and the IFTA license for a motor carrier is determined by the definition from the IRP plan and the IFTA to qualified vehicle and qualified motor vehicle. So I would say maybe if you're getting your truck, your own personal vehicle and stuff like that, and you need all these things, this is what you have to do. You need plates and stuff like that, you know. For purpose of the IRP, a qualified vehicle is has provided below any power units that is used or intended to use on 2 or more members' jurisdiction, and that it is used for the transportation of person to hire or design, use, or maintain primarily from the transportation of property, and has 2 axles and a gross vehicle weight in registered cross vehicle weight in pound excess of 27 pounds, 11,793.401 kilograms, or it has 3 or more axles regarding of weight, or is issue combination when the gross vehicle weight or such combination exceeds 26,000 pounds, 11,793.401 kilograms. I'm sorry. While similar, the qualified motor vehicle in IFTA means a motor vehicle used, designed, or maintained for transportation of person or property, and having 2 axles and a gross vehicle weight or registered gross vehicle weight exceeding 26,000 pounds or 11,795 kilograms, or in use in a combination when the weight of such combination exceeds 26,000 pounds or 11,797 kilograms. Gross vehicle or registered gross vehicle weight. Qualified motor vehicles does not include recreational vehicles. That would be something I'll have to learn, because the bus, it's over 26,000 pounds, since it's transporting people and or luggages, depending on what kind of vehicle you're driving. If the vehicle you operate is registered under the IRP and you are a motor carrier license under the IFTA, then you are required to comply with the mandatory record keeping requirements for operating the vehicle. A universally accepted method of capturing this information is through the completion of an individual vehicle distance record, IDVR. That's individual vehicle distance record, IDVR. IVDR. Sometimes times referred to as driver's trip report. This document reflects the distance traveled and fuel purchase for a vehicle that operates in a state under the opportunity of the IRP registration and the IFTA fuel tax credential. Although the actual format of the IDVR may vary, the information that is required for proper record keeping does not. In order to satisfy the requirements for individual vehicles distance records, these documents must include the following information: distance, date of the trip, starting and ending, trip, origin and destination, city and state or province, route of travel, beginning and ending odometer or hubometer, reading on the trip, total distance traveled, in jurisdiction distance, power unit number of vehicle identification number. So this is something that I did on my previous job, and I didn't have a CDL class. We did have to write the mileage, the odometer, and all that things. So these are things that are not new to me. Fuel. Per section P560 of the IFTA Procedure Manual 300, an acceptance receipt or invoice must include but shall not be limited to the following: 0.005 date of purchase, 0.010 seller's name and address, 0.015 numbers of gallons of liter purchase, 0.020 fuel type, and 0.025 price gallon or liter or total amount of sales, or 0.30 unit number or other unique vehicle identifier. This is something that does not have anything to do with me at the moment, because I'm not driving a truck, so I don't have to follow, this is not that has to do with anything. But it is good to know, because you never know if they do ask it. Or 0.035 purchaser's name. An example of the IDVR that must be completed, it's entirely for each trip, can be found in a figure from 1 to 2, which is, there's an example here, but it's very small, so I can't even read what it says. It says at the beginning of the day when leaving the state of Providence, and at the end of the trip day. Each individual should be filled out for any one vehicle. The rules to follow when trying to reading the log and the odometer regarding those following situations that I said at the beginning of the day, leaving the state of Providence, and the end of the trip of the day. Not only do the trips need to be blogged, but the fuel purchase needs to be documented as well. You must obtain a receipt for all the fueling and include it in your complete IDVR. Make sure that any trips that you enter are always fill out in descending orders, and that your trips include all state Providence that you travel through on your route. There's a different route that a driver may take, and most of the miles may be within one state of Providence. Whether or not the distance you travel is primary in one jurisdiction or spread among several jurisdictions, all information for the trip must be recorded. This includes the date, the route, odometer, reading, and fuel purchases. So this is more like for a truck driving, and this is the sample that they provide for truck, and this is what you'll have. Like, it tells you everything, you know, like what do you need there. You know, you can't barely see it, but so this is like truck driving. This has nothing to do with me, which for the license I'm going to. So it says that by you completing this document in full and keeping all your records required by both the IRP and the IFTA, you will have ensured that you and your company are in compliance with all of the state and provincial laws surrounding the fuels and distance record keeping requirement. So this is something that you do need to do if you're a truck driver. You'll have to keep records and requirements of all of your fuel, the mileage that you go to, all that stuff. So the IVDR serves as the source document for the calculations of fee and taxes that are payable to the jurisdiction in which the vehicle is operated. So these original records must be determined for a minimum of 4 years. So within 4 years, if you notice that Massachusetts has its own tax law, Connecticut has its own tax law, every state has its own tax law. So I would say that wherever you go, you would be considered a tax law in there. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm understanding here. I might be wrong at this, but you know, maybe this is the reason why they have to keep all these records, because they're working in different countries, you know, in different states. So by them traveling to different states, it's like you're working in Texas because you're going to Texas to work to bring something, I don't know, cargo maybe, I don't know. I'm not doing truck driving, so I'm not really focusing much on this. I'm just reading it to you. And says, in addition, these records are subject to audit by the taxing jurisdiction. Failure to maintain complete and accurate record could result in a fine, penalty, and suspension or revocation of your IRP registration and the IFTA license. So you could lose your license and you could be revoked if you don't have this information provided to your company. The additional information on the IRP and the requirements related to the IRP contact you base jurisdiction, motor vehicle department, or the IRP incorporation. The official repository for the IRP additional information can be found on the IRP Inc. website at www.irponier.org. Erpoline, I think it's .org. There's a training video on the website homepage available in English, Spanish, and also French. I don't speak French. For additional information in the IFTA and the requirements related to the IFTA, contact the appropriate agency in your base jurisdiction. You will also find useful information about the agreement in the official repository of the IFTA at http://www.iftach.org/index.php. So that's for the truck drivers, you know. Very interesting though, you know. I'm not taking the truck and the CDO license, but it is very interesting to actually get to know all these things, you know. So we did the whole section 1 right now. This is the whole section 1, and which it was the introduction. So that's your whole introduction of what you need to know, you know. So this introduction you needed for all of your classes, for class A, B, and C. So this is something that you have to learn, you know. If we go back to the template that we had, you notice that all the introduction, all of them has a mark. See, they all have the X, class A, B, and C. So they all have it. So this is something that you do need to do it. And section 2 and section 3, they all have it. All the CDL classes have to have section 1, 2, and 3 completely. So now this is section 1 from CDL. It took me 1 hour and 15 minutes to do this. And you know, so also I don't think I show you guys this template, but let me see if you guys can see it. There's this little template that determines the class of CDL that you're required, and it has like these little things. I don't think you can read them, but you know, it has like, oh Jesus, let me see if I can put something behind it so it'll be darker. The fan is not helping as well. I gotta wait until it moves. Okay, so you see that little thing there, determine class CDL. So it has that, you know, it tells you which CDL you want to go for. So if you look at it real good, I know it's really hard to read, especially that it's on camera, you know, but if you notice, you know, class A, B, C, depending what you're going for, that's all the things that you need to know and things that you need to follow, you know. So maybe you guys can pause the video and take a look at it and see better of it, you know, on that. So those are little things that you also need to follow. Like, gives you like little tiny pictures of it. So this was all section 1. I don't know how long section 2 is, and I don't know if I have enough time to do a section 2, but I don't think you guys want to be in a video more than an hour. This thing requires time to read, and section 2 is, let me see how big is section 2. Maybe we can do another video with section 2. Section 2 goes way big. This is section 2 is section 3. We have to know this. Well, yeah, section 2 is pretty big. I don't think we're going to be able to do section 2 today. I can do it tomorrow and then post a video tomorrow for section 2, since I'm learning the book as well. So what I'm gonna do is, and I advise you to do the same thing if you're learning this with me. I am going to go over section 1 all over again, and I might actually watch the video, since I already recorded it, you know, for you guys to watch it. Instead of me reading all this all over, then I'll watch myself reading it, and I'll learn it, you know. So I'll learn section 1 completely. So once section 1, it's complete in your brain and in your mind of everything that you learn, you know, you soak it in. That's the strategy I'm going to use to learn this, and I hope it helps you guys as well. Every person has their own way of how to learn to do their CDL class. I have the best thing about you going for a CDL job is that when you go for a CDL job, they know you have to learn this book. So they give you a grace period of time for you to wait, you know, for you to learn it. So you have like, I don't know, 4 weeks, I would say, to learn this entire, you know, section of your class that you want to learn license. So if you have 4 weeks, in 4 weeks, I think it should be enough. Like I had my wedding recently, not too long ago. If you guys look at the videos before, you know, I'm sorry for those who really wanted to see the wedding live and stuff like that, but things did happen. My phone got stolen. It got lost. It was my own neglection, you know. I messed up. I went to get a massage and left my phone, so my phone got lost. So now I gotta get me a new one. Right now I'm working with you guys with my computer. If you noticed, that's why it's not so much moving around. But going back on this, which is what I'm doing right now, let's, I would say, go over it again, the video, and speak with it, speak with the video, and repeat it if you have to repeat it. Some people learn that way, some people has to read it, and I can't put the pages in there because I'm not very knowledgeable in this and putting stuff in the computer, and stuff like that yet. I just haven't put my mind into any of this. So I'm more like recording, and I can record this and read it to you guys right now at the moment. But has you listen, maybe my English is not the perfect English for you to understand at this moment, and maybe I'm not saying the words right or something, but I try to spell the words, and write the another thing that I also will be doing myself, because there's like a lot of initials, CDL, which is your commercial driver's license. Write CDL and then write what CDL stands for, so you'll know, because there's the GVWR, which is the gross vehicle weight rating. So all that stuff you will see in the questions when you get the test. Usually they try not to put the whole version of it, so they'll put like initials also in some of them. So if you do memorize those initials, you will understand, I know what CDL is. Oh, I know what this is. So you won't get lost when it comes to the questions in the test. So if you put it aside in a paper, write it with notes, write what CDL is, what does GCWR means. There was like a lot of initials going on. The TSA, know that the TSA is Transportation Security Administration. So all those, you might want to do that. And there's other ones here that you can, the SDLA. SDLA is the State Driver's License Agency. The CMV, I think I told you guys CMV already, right? Because I don't see it here. It has to be back here. But there's the CMV, all these words, that I did mention before, I spelled them, and I said the word, in here somewhere in the paragraph that I don't remember. Like right now I lost track. I forgot what they mean, all of them, So, the SDLA, the CMV, the MV, the DOT, I know for a fact because I done that before, So, in the SDLA, the CFR, what does it mean? Make sure you write it in a notebook and write all those things. Don't forget, if you have a 0.4% lower of alcohol testing, you will lose your CDL for 1 year. Your first offense. So, always remember those little things, if you can lose it for a lifetime and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go through it again, just that's what I would do. I'm going to go through this whole section. I'm going to listen to the video all over again. I might listen to it for more than one time or so, because I do need to memorize what section 1 is. Section 1 is the introduction, and the introduction brings a lot of things that will be on the test, regarding alcohol situations. What would you get fined for? Why will you lose your license? Your first offense, second offense, all those things will be in the test, because when I did my driving test, safety is always the number one thing. So they also have a paper here that it's not with the first introduction, but it is with the beginning of the book, that I do want you guys to know. And this is like a national hotline, and it's to save lives. It's Truckers Against Trafficking. So it has all these. I'm going to show you. So you can make a call. Like if you're going to go for the truck driving license, you know, they'll have like in this here. Okay, so hold on. Okay, it doesn't make me any justice. So you had that license. See, it has all that. And it gives you that. I can read that real quick for you guys. It says human trafficking is modern day slavery. Trafficking uses force, fraud, coercion to control their victims. Any minor engaged in commercial sex is a victim of human trafficking. Trafficking can occur in many locations, including truck stops, restaurants, rest area, brothel, strip clubs, private homes, etc., etc. Excuse me. I get the hiccups now. Truckers are the eye of the ears of our nation's highway. If you see a minor working in any of those areas or suspect pimp control, call the national hotline and report your tips at 1-888-3737-888 or at 1-800-222-TIPS, TIPS, Canada. So for law enforcement to open an investigation on the tip, they need actionable information. Specific tip helpful when reporting to the hotline would include description of the car, the make, the model, the color, the license plate number, etc. Actionable and people, from the people that will need the height, the weight, if you can probably guess the weight, because I don't think you're going to put somebody in a scale while you're on this possession, the hair color, the eye colors, if you get to engage with them, age, etc., you know, somewhere close to the age. Take a picture if you can, specific times and dates. When did you see the event in question take place? What day was it? Address and location where the suspicious activity took place. Trafficking, red flags to look for. These are, you know, red flags. Lack of knowledge of their community or whereabouts. So if the person doesn't know any of their community or whereabouts, that's a red flag. Not in control of own identification document like an ID or passport. Restricted or controlled communication, not allowed to speak for herself. Demeanor, fear, anxiety, depression, submissive, tense, or nervous. Questions that you can ask this person, you know. Are you being paid for your job? Are you being watched or followed? Are you free to leave? Come and go as you please. Are you physically or sexually abused? Are you or your family threatened? Is it in nature of threats? And then report by email. You can also go to the email, which is report@polarisproject.org, which is report@POLARISPROJECT.org. And it also has a warning. It says, warning, please do not approach traffickers. Call the hotline and they will call the FBI and local police to deal with them and rescue the victim. Approaching traffickers is not only dangerous for you and their victims, but could lead to problems in the eventual prosecution of traffickers. Go to victims, but could lead them to problem. So go to www.truckersurrogatetrafficking.org for more information, which is www.truckersurrogatetrafficking.org. I spelled it because I probably did not pronounce that very well. So there's these hotlines that you can call in case if you do become a truck driver and someone is in need of some assistance these are the things that they tell you for you to do. It says make the call and save the life. But being realistic in this, me thinking, you know, are you really going to ask somebody, are you getting paid? Are you being watched or followed? You know, are you free to leave? You know, can you go and come as you please? Are you physically or sexually abused? Because if she's there for sexual, trying to get paid as a prostitute, you know, don't you think that'll be kind of a little bit awkward that you will ask those questions? But it's not uncommon to ask them, but, you know, it's kind of like weird. And then she'll be scared or threatened or whatever. You know, all these questions are just a bit, but it does make sense. So maybe someone will answer these questions that you do have. I don't know. I've never been in a situation like this, but I recommend you guys, hey, go back on the video, listen to it as often as you can, record it in your brain, write the little, you know, CDL, DOT, these words, and write the meaning of them. So you'll, when you hear the, you know, the words, you will understand what do they mean, you know. And memorize section 1, and then tomorrow I'll work on section 2, which is a lot longer than section 1. Section 2 goes pretty deep. It goes all the way till 2 has over, let me see, how many pages? Okay, so 2 has 42 pages. So 2 is about this knee long. Hold on, let me move 1 out of the way. Otherwise it'll be bigger. 1 was like basically the smallest one. So 2 is this much. So I don't think section 2 would be something that it would take 1 hour. I think it might take like maybe 2 hours, depending how fast I can read. But I try to not read it too fast, because I'm the person that when people talk, you know, I kind of like being able to understand, and I'm you know. So when you read a little slower, you know, you probably understand a little much better than moving on too fast. So I haven't gotten any tests regarding this sections yet. I do have like a general test there, but that's like general completely all. So I'll have to do the testing later, or another video with you guys after I'm done with all this, and then maybe we could do the test together, and then I can give you the answers, and then you guys can it's an example test. It's not the real test that you'll get at the DOT, but this is like an example test that they will do. So this is something that you can study together. So this is section 1 of your DOT driver's license manual, and I hope you guys learned something from it, and maybe you guys can get your CDL license. And remember, there's a lot of restrictions here, so every rule you break you costs you to lose your license or have basically a bad record, because when they see that you have like broken some laws and stuff like that, you do get penalized for it. So, you know, there's a $5,000 fine, you know, for doing certain things that you were not supposed to do. So that $5,000 fine is described in there like 3 times. If you notice, it's for 3 different offenses. So you might want to go over that and put that in your brain. To write, make yourself some notes. Hey, you know, I think this will be something that would be in the test. You know, make yourself some notes and learn in your own way of doing things. So I hope you guys had a good time, and it is tiring to hear somebody talking and talking and talking, but when you really want something and you want to reach a goal, then this is the right way of doing it. One of the right ways to doing it. I never seen a video of anybody doing a DOT manual, so I don't know. I hope this will benefit you guys. You know, hit like, subscribe, share your video, please. And let's help each other and other people to be able to reach this goal in their life as well, you know, and be able to do it in a different way. So I'm not a teacher. I'm not licensed to any of this. I'm just got my DOT book, and I am sharing what my learning experience is in here and how I am looking to learn this book for the job I want to get in the future. So you guys have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of the day. It's 8:54 in the morning here where I'm at, and it is October 5th of 2022. The DOT book, like I said in the beginning, it is not a DOT book. That it's a 2014 DOT rules, 2005 CDL testing system. Up to this day, it has not been updated. The book, this is the one I got from them, and at year 2022, maybe 2023, it will have different. Remember, this might change. It might be subject to change in future. Nothing stays. Every rule happens. New rules come in. Old rules leave, or they get better. So always make sure that you check with your motor vehicle registry or motor vehicle wherever your location is at, and get updated within your book system. For this book, due to the reason that I want to apply for a certain job, I got it for free. But you may have to pay for yours in your motor vehicle to get yours, because nothing in this life is free if you look at it the right way. So have a nice day. Thank you. My name is Betsy, and I am here with this, trying to help you guys, and I hope you guys like it.